This video is sponsored by Squarespace. That's right, I have officially ticked off the biggest box on a street photographer's bucket list, New York City. It was everything I thought it would be and more, but it was also oddly familiar, and it was as if I recognized the streets, maybe just from films, YouTube videos, TV, photo books, but none of that really gives you a sense of how the place feels. And I'm not sure I can even articulate that myself here, and maybe this video won't even really give you a sense of how that place feels. You just have to see it for yourself. I was fortunate to spend a total of 8 days in New York, but I wasn't alone. A group of 6 of us made the trip from London: Kenny, Cal, Gautier, Elliot, JP and myself, all with the same game plan: shoot as much as possible. I'm also super pleased to announce my first photography zine, and this is obviously a collection of my favourite photographs from New York City. So this trip proved to be productive and I'm super stoked on this. So if you're interested in getting a copy, I'll leave a link in the description. So, without further ado, here's a little look into what a week of street photography is like in New York City. So I've just arrived at the Airbnb and I checked the fridge, and this is the most street photographers are staying here type fridge you could get. I will take this for Kenny now. So I've just arrived in Manhattan literally 5 minutes ago, dropped my bags off at the Airbnb, and now I'm in the middle of this chaos. And right now, it's just a sensory overload. I'm obviously a little bit tired, I've been on a plane for 7 hours, but why is everything so big? Oh, I cannot wait to be shooting for the next 7 days straight. This is going to be so much fun. But right now I feel like I just need to take a moment and like chill, because this is going to be chaos. But good chaos, so it's going to be a fun week.
There's some shady deal happening over there.
This is worth a lot of money, this is worth a lot of money.
Oh yeah, that famous picture. Yeah.
We ended this day on about 24,000 steps and maybe 400, 500 raw files. Considering that Kenny and myself also flew 7 hours from London to New York, I would say I'm pretty impressed with the distance covered, but of course the novelty of being in a place like that, we just wanted to see everything. Straight to Times Square, up and down 5th and 6th Avenue, down to Washington Square Gardens. We wanted to see it all. So we were tired, but that's what you do when you go to New York, right? If I had to pick a favourite from this day, it would probably be the superhero dog from Times Square. I just think that's funny, for obvious reasons. And then maybe the ambulance panning shot. That was random. I wasn't sure if that was going to work, but I love the subject in the middle of the frame that also adds to the energy. Just something about that. I really like that one. So this is day 2, which is more like our first proper day after landing yesterday, 8-hour flight, and then just exploring the city for the first time. It was like just my sensory overload. It's pretty crazy. And today it is Pride in Manhattan, so it's going to be crazy again today. I've got the MP in my bag and also the M11. It's a bit cloudy, so I'll probably shoot on the M11 mostly, and if the weather picks up, get the film out. So yeah, day 2 in New York, my first full day here. I'm excited. Let's see what we can do. Do you know how to use digital cameras, Kenny?
No. What do I do? Is this focus?
It's so big. So we've arrived at Washington Square Park, and the only way I can describe it is it's like, well, New York City in general is like strolling TikTok in real life. Everything's just like, it's nuts. In a good way though, I think. Yeah, it's crazy. And it is mad humid right now, so everyone is just so sweaty and sticky, so yeah. Slow day of shooting though, I think. I've only got a roll and a half. I don't know, maybe that's alright, but yeah, crazy. I just want to take a moment to thank the sponsors of this video, Squarespace. Squarespace has been my go-to for hosting my photography portfolio, selling products, and even writing blogs. And most recently, I've added this zine to my website. It's available to buy, and of course I use Squarespace to get this sorted. Adding the description, photographs, the stock, sorting out the fulfillment options, the whole thing was super easy to do. And yeah, if you're interested in getting a copy of this, I'll leave a link in the description. If you are selling something, whether it's a physical product or a digital product, or even offering services, all of that can be done through Squarespace. I've also added a whole page dedicated to my favorite New York City photographs to my website. I'll leave a link for you to check that out in the description as well. Interested in taking your passion or your business to the next level? I highly recommend doing so with Squarespace. So why not at least start a free trial and see what you think? After that, when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Mike Chudley to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Now, let's get back to New York.
There you go.
The only thing I need to know is the
Candid.
what the fuck? Alright, now we have it.
Man, I waste like 4 shots on that.
A roundup of day 2. We did about 33,000 steps, which makes sense because it was Pride all day, and then we were wandering around Washington Square Gardens where it all just unfolded as basically one big festival. And then Scotty joined us later in the evening and we walked back up to Times Square. So we did a lot. If I had to pick a favourite from this day, it would definitely be this one. I love the multiple stories happening all at once, the subjects are wonderfully spaced out, and the light is just perfect. I'll just do nothing until then. After a walk around in the financial district in the morning and in Chinatown around midday, it was just so hot that we decided to take a break for a couple of hours in Central Park and played Uno, obviously. And I think I lost pretty much every game. After that, we headed back into Midtown for rush hour, and I did manage to get this photograph. Something about the flip phone caught my attention to begin with, but then I also really love the chaos happening around the two subjects, and obviously the really unbothered expression from the girl in the middle. I think this photograph just looks like a busy New York street photograph, and something about that I'm just pleased I was able to capture. In the evening, we headed to a bar called the Whalen, and the lights here was absolutely chef's kiss. And obviously I had to take a few photographs, so here's some portraits of Gautier that came out really lovely. We both really like these, but then also this wider shot of the whole scene in general. And this photograph here, honestly, has ended up being one of my favorites from the whole trip. And it's not even a traditional street photograph. Day 3 ended up being the highest step count of the trip with a total of 43,000 steps. Now, we all know how important shoes are for street photography, so that's why I'm gonna include this little bit here. I was using these Nigel Houston skateboard shoes, these signature Nikes. I've been using these for about a year, they're fantastic. I always think skate shoes are just the comfiest shoes anyway. These were doing the job until day 3, and then they just started hurting. So, I upgraded to the On running shoes. I've never had a pair of these before, but they're fantastic. So there's my shoe review. Any street photographers looking for some shoes that are gonna last you all day and, you know, for months at an end, really, then I can recommend these. I used these for the rest of the trip in New York, and then I've also been using them while we've been back home, and they're perfect. Anyway, this isn't a shoe channel, so onwards with day 4. Hello, Dublin. Also, hello, James Parsons.
Hello.
It was here at Grand Central Station that JP and I had the full intentions to be taking pictures all morning. However, we got distracted by the Apple store inside the station, which, by the way, I think is a weird place to have an Apple store, but obviously they know what they're doing. And then the second thing is, the Apple Vision Pros were on demo. You could try them out. And I was really keen to do that. I've not seen them, only heard about them online, but they're not available in the UK at the time. We were in New York, so yada yada yada, I wanted to do the demonstration. Anyway, that took like an hour and a half. I didn't think it would take that long. The Vision Pros are wild, super impressive, but also super scary. It kind of reminded me of a world like Ready Player One, and that's gonna be weird. So anyway, we got distracted from taking photos. And then after the Apple store, we headed to B&H, I do believe, as I needed to pick up some more film. A very quick note on the pastrami sandwich I had from Cat's Deli. It was okay, probably overhyped and definitely a tourist trap. If you've ever been to London and had Brick Lane Bagel in Shoreditch, it was kind of like that, so it was pretty good, but the place was rammed and it was all anyone ever mentioned when I said I was going to New York. Gotta go to Cat's Deli, go try this, try that. It was fine, that's about it. If you're visiting New York, I wouldn't put it on the list of things to do, but you might also really love pastrami sandwiches, then sure. Check it out. A total of 38,000 steps on day 4, but perhaps my slowest day of photography. And while I was editing this video and looking at the photos, I think it showed that. At the time, I didn't know that, I was just having fun. But some days I like that. As long as you are having fun, doesn't necessarily mean you have to walk away with good photographs. And to be honest with you, most of the time street photography is just failure. And getting one good photograph is something to be proud of. So day 4, we did a lot of walking, but actually didn't take any photographs that I think are super interesting. I very much enjoyed the Staten Island ferry, and we make sure to do that again. And later on in this video, we go back on the ferry, and that one is very productive. basically those bubbles over there are doing bubble stuff, and a guy next to me started lighting up, and he was like, am I in your shot? He asked me if he was in my way, and I was like, well, now we're chatting. I was like, do you want to take a seat and I'll take a portrait if you're lighting up? And he was like, yeah, cool. And like the bubbles going mad around him. Like, weird. But I don't know what I'm doing. Little update on the trip so far. It is day 5. I've shot maybe 6 rolls of film, and I'm shooting on the MP today. Hopefully get through another 1 or 2. I also have the M11 with me. Sometimes I debate going out with 2 cameras just because like you can only shoot with 1, right? But at the same time, I am in New York and I'm not here every day. So if I do fancy shooting on the M11, I have that privilege, and what a privilege it is, and I definitely don't take it for granted that I get to shoot on both. Tomorrow is the big day. It's Thursday the 4th of July, so we will be going to Coney Island along with probably every other street photographer in New York. That's pretty much it so far. The coffee's good here, everything is massive, and we're doing about 30 to 40,000 steps every day, as expected. I want to try and get a 50k step day in the bag, so I'm sure that'll happen at some point. I haven't really been filming too much because I've been trying to focus on the photography side of things and obviously hanging out with everyone. But I'm trying to film some bits here and there. But I want to come away from this trip with a handful of images that I'm like stoked on. So, and hopefully I get a zine out of this trip as well. So that'd be great. Cool. So that's where we're at right now. Absolutely loving life. And yeah, just keen to shoot as much as possible right now. $5.
5.
Yeah, I do this every day. Yeah. Every time I do street, get a $5 cookie.
Let's get close.
That cookie, by the way, was one of the nicest cookies I've ever had. Full stop. Just putting that out there. Anyway, on this day, we headed back to the Airbnb early because it was just incredibly humid, incredibly hot. We took things easy, we freshened up, and we headed back out in the evening when the temperature was a little cooler. The following day, which was day 6, ended up being the Coney Island trip. So on the 4th of July, we all headed out to Coney Island as a group. That place was so interesting and so unique and obviously wild on the 4th of July. But I made a whole video for that day dedicated to everything that went on. So I'll leave a link above my head or in the description. That video is already out. Go and check it out. Now on day 7, I didn't film too much, so I will mix and match the rest of day 5 and day 7 into the next couple of minutes. So hopefully that makes sense chronologically. Enjoy.
Instagram to take a picture of the caption.
Yeah, man.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Appreciate y'all, man. What's your name? JP. You coming to visit New York or y'all staying?
That's me, man.
Glad y'all liking it. Where y'all coming from?
London.
London?
Yeah.
I'm a London boys out the bad one that's all. Yeah. We love that shit.
started doing good coffee?
Started just now.
Just now. Today was the day.
How do you feel?
Horrible.
Hello, New York! Alright, Mike, we'll subscribe.
Thank you. Day 5, we ended up doing about 35,000 steps, and day 7 ended up being about 30,000 steps. So even though it was incredibly humid, we still managed to walk quite a bit, so that's cool. And then also in terms of photography, I did get a few photographs I'm really pleased with. I'll put a few on screen here. Moving on to day 8, this would be our last full day in the city, but arguably the most fun. I see a wild Polly B. What's good?
What's good, bro? How you doing? Welcome to the ferry.
Talk to me. What's the process with the ferry?
Process number one, listen to the crew. The good thing about the ferry is it's really like tunnel vision. You
Yeah.
have 25 minutes there, 25 minutes back. So you have to walk around and like scope out the photographs as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
As quickly as you can.
How often are you doing this?
I'm doing this every day I'm in the city, so like 6 times a week. Sometimes 2 to 3 times per day.
Nice.
A round trip is 1 hour.
Yeah.
I put in a lot of time this year.
How many rolls?
Over 100
On the ferry?
on the ferry, just the ferry. I haven't seen any of it.
Not
so
a
I don't
lot,
know if it's any good. I hope it's good.
We'll
There's
see.
some good things that I remember,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
don't remember like the photo. I remember like people like doing their makeup with like a mirror on here, and then like photo
Yeah.
shoots having the back. I don't know, like
We'll
a
see,
lot of
one day.
layers.
Yeah. You look crazy, by the way.
How far back is this?
Yeah, January, when I started shooting film.
You should put it into a spreadsheet. It was on the M6, Porsche 800, blah blah blah, New York City.
On 420.
Is this the
That's
nerdiest
me
thing?
comparing it to last year.
Whoa.
So this is like the red is this year so far, and the blue is last year.
Whoa,
So like, so this year so far I've shot 307, and then last year I was at 225.